Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Today we're discussing the first season of the anime Bleach, which is known as the Agent of the Shinigami arc.
And first we have to give a shout out to General Phoenix, who begged us and suggested that we watch this series. Thank you, Phoenix.
Yeah.
Now, this arc plot covers the adventures of Ichigo Kurosaki after becoming a Soul Reaper and assuming the duties of Soul Reaper Rukia Kuchiki. Now, when she becomes incredibly low in power, Ichigo acts as a substitute Reaper and defeats creatures known as Hollows for harming humans, or to keep them from harming humans.
Right. And before we get into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on future podcasts and World of Paws videos.
Yes, because we're going to be continuing each season.
Right. Especially since now we know that the anime is coming back to do the last arcs of the manga in 2021. So this is definitely going to be interesting to see, how the story is for the first 5 arcs in the movies and stuff, and then see it, I guess, officially conclude with the upcoming arc in next year.
Right. Now we have watched season 1 as well as the Bleach live action movie, which we will have another podcast for you.
Right. So for here, we weren't sure what to expect because we had it in our list for quite some time, but we were watching other animes at first, and then when we finally...
Too many other anime.
Yeah, and we finished a majority of the stuff we had in our list that we hadn't seen before, and then finally we got to Bleach. It's like, okay, Phoenix has talked about this so much, let's finally watch it.
Right.
And from the way that people usually present it in the advertisements and videos and stuff, it's like this really hardcore action show, tons of adventure and stuff, and then you get to the show and it's like Team Rocket is like like, why is it 90% of it is comedy?
But it works. It absolutely works with the storyline and the characters and the likability of the characters. That's what really surprised me. How much so many characters in this are likable, and how so many stand out, like Chad.
Yeah, I'm 15. Like, how old? You look like you're 30!
But we're so grateful that we did watch the show, because now we have another anime to watch we love that has multiple seasons and multiple movies, and we hope to finish so that we can watch in tandem with everyone else when the final series is released.
Right.
Well, season, I should say.
And for this one, the first arc, yeah, every season is pretty much one arc. So that's kind of like with Fullmetal Alchemist was broken up into particular arcs, so it'd be easier to follow in case you're trying to watch it in a particular order or something. And for here, like I said, it has to get you introduced to all the characters and building out what's going to be the big story for season 2, because of course it ends on a cliffhanger. Can't tell you the cliffhanger, but it ends on a cliffhanger. Yes. And like I said, first, there is a lot of action in here, especially when it comes to fighting the Hollows, these other people from what's called the Soul Reaper,
Soul
Society, yeah. And the Hollows aren't a joke. Because a lot of the things in this show are jokes. The Hollows are definitely not jokes, because they tell you what they are and why are they attacking people in the real world, and it's the Soul Reaper's job to stop them so they don't take out people, and it's not time yet.
Well, neither are the Soul Reapers. I mean, Rukia, her personality and attitude are changed by her interaction with Ichigo. But when we see the other Reapers, they are no jokes. They are intense. They are serious. They do not like humans. They do not like Hollows. They do not like Quincy's. They don't like anybody that's not a Soul Reaper.
Right. They're like, oh, they're so elitist, aren't they? And over here, like I say, you introduced a lot of the characters. Some, like you said, Ichigo and Rukia, you end up seeing, Ichigo's family and his backstory, what happened with the mother. You see how he becomes a Soul Reaper and how he has to keep going to the Soul Reaper form each and every time. They have this guy that was supposed to be a soldier, and they're going to take him out, and they kind of use this little marble gumball looking thing that's supposed to be him, and they keep taking it out so they can switch bodies every time, and it's hilarious because he's in a little stuffed bear. He's in a stuffed bear that looks like a lion, and he's like, why would you put me in this? I'm supposed to be something strong. And then they just throw him around and kick him and everything because he can't get hurt.
They didn't want to destroy him. They thought he had a right to exist, so the bear is what he found. So it was hilarious. And don't forget, as you mentioned, we get to see Ichigo's family. You see his dad, who is just hilariously off the wall, and his twin sisters, and one of his sisters, Kareem, also is able to see the supernatural.
Right.
And the other sister isn't. The dad doesn't have that ability either.
Mm-hmm.
But then their friends, Orihime, is able to. And her brother recently has turned into an hollow. He died some time ago, and he stayed around because of her. And the longer you stay, you eventually, they said, become hollow. He became a hollow, and that's how she and Ichigo actually began interacting more on a personal level because of the events that came about as a result of him becoming a hollow.
Right. And as it goes on, it sees, Ichigo's friends too, and you see a lot of the students there seem to have these abilities, because every time you turn around, some students able to have some weird power, or they can see the supernatural, and it's kind of like, how many students can do this? Because it starts becoming more and more apparent with that. And then
some of them are at different levels. Like Chad, he couldn't see them, but he could sense the presence.
Right.
But he couldn't see them.
Right.
But Orihime, she could see them because she was actually talking to her brother for a while, and he was there and listening to her. And I don't remember if she really knew he was there or not. But later on, she was able to actually see the hollow and see the different things that were going on.
Right. And then, as we said, with the arc of what happens with Rukia comes in towards the end of the season. And it starts to lead into something even bigger and starts expanding the world of Bleach. Because, as we said, there's quite a bit of comedy for a show about Soul Reapers, and it's like, what? But as it gets further on, the comedy starts to fade away. Not so much as it's not funny anymore, but because it's time for it to get into the story. Right. Yeah. They have the last year's funny episode they had was like the entire episode was just comedy, like what happened with the bear, what happened with Ichigo and the Quincy and his accosted like this Rukia like Ichigo. It was all comedy throughout until it got to like the last 3 minutes when Rukia had to leave and she never told him goodbye, and then that's when it starts actually getting serious and there's no comedy. It's actually time for the rest of the story to happen now that you've gotten warmed up.
Now let's not forget the storekeep, who has this hat on like Beetlejuice. He looks really young, and he's got 2 kids, or people that appear to be kids, helping him run this shop that has all this supernatural curio and things to help them in their battle of the hollows.
Yeah, and it looks like he's sort of like the secret shopkeeper for the Soul Reaper items, because you see there no one's ever there, but I guess that's the purpose for the ones that are there. They get mystical items and stuff they need for when they do their job, and that's how Rukia gets these little. They had one where they were getting little tablets and stuff that each guy had to take when he had to become the Soul Reaper, instead of her punching the crap out of him to get out. And instead he would take them, it was in a little Pez dispenser. And so why is it in this? I asked for a duck. Why isn't it a rabbit? I asked for a duck, but that's all he had. And then of course Rukia can't draw when she explains about the hollows and the jobs and stuff and needs like a visual description. She can't draw, so it's like, I would take it more seriously if it didn't look like a little bunny.
But this show is really great. It is different from any anime we've seen out there so far. I'm sure there are others who have been inspired by Bleach and probably are similar, but for us right now, this is the only one we've seen. The voice acting, English dub voice acting actors are fantastic. We haven't seen it in Japanese or heard in Japanese as yet. It's just the dub version, and we're loving it. We're absolutely loving it. Can't wait to get to the other seasons so we can see the animated movies that go along. I think Phoenix said we watch another movie after season 3, and from what we know, there are 3 more animated movies, so we can't wait to get to those. But it's kind of difficult to talk a lot about this show and not give so many spoilers, and this is one show you don't want to have your experience spoiled by knowing what's coming
Right.
next.
Oh, there's one more thing I could point out is that, Netflix keeps in the entirety of the show, including end credits and previews and stuff. Now, the funny thing to do for the previews that they've kind of cut for other anime is that when they tell you about the next episode, half the time they don't tell you what the next episode is. Characters take over the introductions and it turns into their show, and you get to say, it's not your show! Or they think, oh, it's a detective show, it's a love story, it's this, that, and the other. So that's not what the show is about. Or they have one guy who would say, oh, here's how you do it. You take your sword and you raise it up and you slice and slice and slice, 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 slice. And what happened to the preview, you idiot? And then everyone was screwed with the preview, so you never knew what was coming unless it was serious.
Right. So, if you are a fan of Bleach, or you
Phoenix.
Yes, or you just casually watch some of the episodes, let us know what you love about this show and what makes it a favorite in the comments below, including who your favorite character is. And if you've never seen Bleach, then you gotta see it. It's on Netflix. The entire series up to date has been added, as well as the live action movie and the animated movie. So give it a try and let us know what you think in the comments below.
Right, and be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get updates on Paws Podcast and one of Paws videos.
And lastly, immediately following this podcast, you can go ahead and take a look at the Bleach live action movie podcast, which is also available now.
Right. So, thank you so much for watching. I'm Rascal Entertainment.
And I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.
And reporters sitting, flashing lights, trying to walk around, man, who the hell are you? What you wanna do? Well, man, it's on you. Man, it's on you. Met her in my dreams, she was my queen. A castle in the mountaintops, rivers and streams. Plucking sunlight from the sky in my pocket, give it to you.